Hey there Internet, Keav here and welcome to the Cars and Keav YouTube channel. In this video, I'm excited and nervous at the same time. I am instituting a rating system for foam cannons. We're not going to do comparisons anymore within the videos. We're going to test and review this individual unit. Then we're going to go through the scoring system and give it its score. At the end of every video, I'll show some slides of the current scores and maybe we'll put a spreadsheet out there online somewhere. I do have a website, carswithkeav.com, which I haven't done much on forever. I kind of want to revamp the website and get things kind of going there. And we're going to call it the Keav score. I know it's kind of a ripoff of Doug DeMuro's Doug score. Now this was brought forth to me by a commenter on one of my videos. Said, hey, you should do a rating system for these. I asked if they wanted credit and they said no, but I love the comment section. There's always good suggestions or anything. Now this is all subjective. There are some measures in there. We'll go over them in the end of the video. What I want to do in this video is go back over a lot of the older ones that I've reviewed already and score them based off of my memory, and I'll rewatch some of the videos. So let's start out with the very first foam cannon I've ever done a review on, and that was the PF 22.2 by MTM. At one point I thought this was the greatest foam cannon on earth. It was the only one that I've ever tried, so I had no idea. And this was back when narrow neck foam cannons were everywhere and the wider necks hadn't really come out yet. The plastic in the bottle is really high quality. The manifold here was such a higher quality than everything out there at the time. I actually thought in the beginning that this was stainless steel. It is not. This is nickel plated brass, and this is like a casted manifold. It's not milled out of a single piece of metal. Another great thing about this one is the knob on top. It doesn't hurt your hands when you're trying to turn it, when you get to full max and you just want to make sure that it's there. Some of those other ones will tear your hand to pieces. This one was built really nice. It's really nice and fluid, has a click. Another great thing about this one is you have the ability to shoot vertical or horizontal. And it also is a very fluid motion with a click. So the best thing about this foam cannon is the amount of foam. It is top 5 tier foam. Really nice and thick. They give you a 1.25 with the device. It comes with a 1.1 millimeter orifice as well. So when I'm doing my ratings, it's based off of what comes in that box. I'm not hacking it. I'm not going to take this from here or that from there to make it better. It is being judged exactly how it comes out of the box. The narrow neck, I really don't like it. It is a metal top with a plastic thread. Metal tops and plastic threads, it's just not a good thing. Now if you're perfect every time you open and close these, you're good to go. One bad angle and you're going to strip out all of those plastic threads. Now another thing is I like transparent bottles. I like to see the color that's inside. I like to see the liquids inside. This is probably the worst one that I have. And the PF 22.2 has a score of 67.5. Next in line is the MJJC Pro Foam Cannons, version 1 and version 2. These are actually the first free to review products that I've ever been given. So version 2 to me is just about one of the most ultimate foam cannons you can have out there. There's so much going on here, and at the time that they were out there when I was looking at it, they were only 60 bucks. Now they're closer to $80, so it brings the rating down a little bit because cost is obviously a factor in these devices. But I mean, there's so much going on here. It's awesome. Version 2 over version 1, the turns here they feel a lot better. They're using brass under here instead of plastic. They made a change to the top. I really can't tell what it is, but it is leak proof now, completely leak proof. And obviously it foams a little bit better too. It says 1,000 milliliters about right here, but it's actually about a 1/4 inch above that. Almost all the other ones are accurate, but a few of them are way off. But this one does have more capacity and that holds 100 milliliters more. The really wide neck, that's a great part about this. The suction tube on this is very pliable and it has the weighted ball on it, so it's always in the liquid. So the cap on this is dual threaded, so you can actually put the PF 22.2 bottle on this and this bottle and just about any other small bottle, from Chemical guys to Gtechniq to any of the guys, any of their soap bottles. The versatility on the quick disconnect here on the back. Now the coolest thing about MJJC is they have about, I don't know, at least 20 different versions of the foam cannon. Everything's the same. They use the M22 fitting on the back. That M22 fitting gives an ability to put tons of different quick disconnects, and it allows you to get to the orifice in there really quick without having to have a wrench. And also if you're using a stock spray gun that has the M22 thread at the end of the spray gun, you can connect that directly to the foam cannon and have that work. The spray pattern is really tight, so when you set it at a specific spray pattern, every time you're not going to have to adjust this. It's going to stick where it was. The top here has the more rigid knob, and it really hurts your hand if you get too far. Nothing out there foams like this. And that's why the version 2 got a score of 74.3. The version 1 got a 72.2. The Griot's Boss foam cannon. This is my favorite foam cannon right now. It's definitely costly at almost $100, but you get what you're going to be shocked all the value you get here for the same price of a PF 22.2. The measurings are accurate. It holds 1100 milliliters, so it has slightly more capacity than the PF 22.2. It has the same cap, more or less, than the MJJC version 2. It is leak proof. It does not leak. The bottle is slightly better. It does have these two ribbed sections here that allow you to grasp the bottle slightly better than the MJJC. And on the inside of this bottle, the suction tube is really nice and pliable, just like the MJJC. But this has a weighted ball, but it's special. It has a little bitty piece in here. Now this special little metering tip just goes right in the top of the weighted ball. And what that does is it dilutes the soap properly into the manifold. You don't have to dilute your soap in the bottle anymore. And I've been using the crap out of it. And these little metering tips right here, I have a video, you can hack these into just about any foam cannon. Works really well. You can fill this up with soap all the way up to the top and just sit there and use it every single time until it's empty. This is machined out of a solid block of T304 stainless steel, and it's rifled in the barrel. And it's electroplated, which is huge for corrosion protection. Now the top here, it is the same hardness as the MJJC, but it doesn't hurt as much because the ribs are much smaller. The gap is much smaller, so it can't really pinch your fingers. The top part right here does not have two different types of fans. There's just so much going on. The attention to detail, the Griot's Garage logo, that's kind of laser etched into the side here. And it foams really well. It's like PF 22.2 level, not quite with the MJJC. And so we give the Griots a 75.2. So this is the Brilliant Finish. Now this thing is really light. The innovation on this one is the same as the Boss foam cannon. Obviously the material is slightly less, but this is a full block of aluminum that's been machined and electroplated. So it's not brass, it's aluminum. And that's what makes it so much lighter. Now one of the biggest innovations on this one is the cap is different than any other foam cannon out there. It doesn't have a turn dial top. Now you can see here, it's a dial. You have these little measuring points. So you can say, hey, this soap, I use it on a level 2. I use this on a level 4. Another thing they did is they did make a slightly bigger nozzle here at the top. But it is rubber gripped, which is nice, feels good in the hand. It's not that really hard plastic. Feels really good. Has the cool little Griot's car kind of embossed or etched into there. The bottle's actually pretty good. The only thing it got knocked off a good bit, it got a 0 in the markings category because there are no markings on this bottle. All I know is I measured it and it holds exactly 1,000 milliliters to like the very tippy top here. The neck is slightly different on this compared to most of the other foam cannons. This one has a really tight thread pattern right here, and it is a different size than all the other ones. Like the MJJC, the Griots, and a lot of these other ones, they share the same cap top, so you can use all their bottles across them. This one you can't. It's the same size as some of the other ones, but the pattern of the tread is different, and that's another issue about this is you have to be perfect with how you get it turned in there. If you're off by a little bit, it's going to go offline. You're not going to be able to get it to go in right. Just like the Boss foam cannon, it has the flexible tube and the weighted ball, and guess what? It has the ability to use that same metering tip in this. So you have that innovation from the Boss foam cannon can be used in a Brilliant Finish at half the price. And obviously you're gonna have to buy those metering tips. They're like $6 at Griot's, but they want to charge you like 10-15 bucks to sit there and ship it. Plastic on the cap is definitely lower quality than some of the other ones. It is a much cheaper price. This really plastic elevated rise out of the middle of the cap. It just looks like if you turn the top too hard, that may break. It is a little more of a clearer bottle. You can see the liquid's a lot better in here, which would have made it really awesome if you had dang markings on the side. It's always been $50. And compared to whatever else is out there, this is an awesome value. Amazing foam levels on this one as well. So the Brilliant Finish gets a score of 74.8. I drove around AutoZone, Advanced, O'Reilly's, just trying to find a foam can that you could buy in an auto parts store. Found the Armor All. For me, it foams like crap. And I tried everything I could. I even changed this thing to a 1.1 and just foams like crap. It doesn't really matter what you do. And I don't know what it is. Same neck size, same cap type as all the others. The manifold is very close to what others are doing. So the Armor All has one really good thing. The marking and the fact that it's a little bit more stable because it is crazy huge bottom right here. But the markings are really weird too. So the markings are more meant for ounces, right? So you got your 8 ounce, 15, 20, 25, all the way up to 40, right? But your milliliters are like 235, 590, 740, 945, and 1100. This holds 1300 milliliters. That's the highest capacity of any of the foam cannons that I've tried. But that's because the freaking bottom of this is so big that it doesn't fit in anything that I've really tried to create to hold a foam cannon, because it's just so big at the bottom. I don't like the shape. As you can see, I don't have too many pros for this foam cannon. The most unenjoyable videos I ever filmed, because when something doesn't foam good, it puts me in a bad mood. So the Armor All gets a score of 61. So next in line is called the Selkie. This is what we got right here. And as you can see, if you've been around the game long enough, this is your typical generic piece right here. There's no innovation here. This is the old school bottle, narrow neck, metal on plastic. As you can see, it's the exact same manifold basically that the Armor All has. It has the turn right here that doesn't have the ability to do, you know, vertical and horizontal, which is no big deal. But the metal on plastic, another issue that you have with this, it never wants to stay tight. It always wants to come undone. The top knob does hurt your hand. It has the wide channel grip at the top. There's nothing to it, I'm telling you. It's just yeah, let's move on. So Selkie received a score of 63.7, and you would say, hey, why is it better than Armor All? Well, this actually foams. The Superints foam cannon, almost a PF 22.2 like nozzle right here. It has a manifold that's a lot like the Selkie and the Armor All, but it's definitely much heavier. You can feel there's much more weight behind this. The cap is the same size as the Armor All, same size as MJJC. That it's kind of become an industry standard almost now. The tube that comes with it's really cool because it has a filter at the bottom, creates really good foam, really good foam. But the best thing about this is the clear bottle. I'm a huge fan of clear bottles, and when I'm doing my new watch setup, this clear bottle is going to be on this Griot's manifold, so I can have that nice clarity. And we'll do a video on like the best Frankenstein foam cannon that you could possibly build. The other great thing about this bottle, the markings. And these markings give you almost every single milliliter from 100 to 1,000. It gives you ounces all the way up to that 32 ounce mark. And it has markings for dilution ratios, 5 to 1, 8 to 1. You got your 10 to 1. That's awesome. Nobody else that I know of has done that yet. You do have 2 spray patterns. The back will turn, which allows you to change your fan this way, and then the front turns and allows you to do your spread. Is a tighter turn, and so is this, so it stays more. The top knob, pretty ribbed, hurts your hand, and that gives the Superints a 72.8. The McKillins. Now McKillins reached out to me. They sent me a foam cannon to do reviews on. The knob on top, it's really good. See how much larger it is. It's like the PF 22.2. Just feels really good in your hand. There's no clicking like the PF 22.2, but I wouldn't expect that out of something like this that currently right now is about $30-ish, so really good value. The same type of build as the Superints, almost the exact same foam level, and you feel the weight here. Manifold's almost exactly the same. This has the top that only has the ability to spread your fan. It is a little loose. The bottle itself is pretty good. It does have markings all the way up to the 800 milliliter mark, so I kind of knocked off on that because you don't know where the 1000 milliliter mark is. It's like right here at the top. It's pretty high up there. The cap is about the same size as the Brilliant Finish, but the thread pattern on this is more what I would expect, a wider thread pattern, so it's much easier. Nice little ring here, allows you to have an ergonomic grip on the bottle. Same thing on the Brilliant Finish as well. I mean, there's so many things that I forgot to say about a ton of these. Like the MJJC, you know, has a dual thread. Well, so does the Griots, has a dual thread. The Brilliant Finish has a dual thread. So there's so many other things here. This does not. It does leak. You know, overall, it's pretty good for the value. So the McKillins gets a 66.5. So there you go. There's our 9 foam cannons. We have them rated. The top dog is currently the Griot's Boss foam cannon with the Brilliant Finish coming in a close second. So here is a sneak peek. We are going to be doing the Max Shine. We have the Big Mouth Chemical guys. We have the Trinova and the Adams Premium. We also have Active's new foam cannon that they just released. It's on its way. So for all of you that were looking for all that information and the rating of the 9, the video is good for you. Now, if you want to nerd out, the next few minutes is going to be good for you. 6 categories. You have foam, bottle, function, cost, quality, and innovation. Now these are weighted because obviously a foam cannon, foam is the most important thing. Foam gets 2.5, gets 25%. The bottle gets 1.75. The function is 1.75. Quality is 1.75, and innovation is 1.75. Cost is actually the lowest at 0.5 because even a $100 foam cannon has value, but it's still a measurable that you're going to need. Cost is definitely important. It's just the least important for me out of all of them. Here's foam. Obviously there's only one factor for me in foam, and that's thickness, and it's just based off of the MJJC was pretty awesome, the best of them out there, so I didn't want to give it a 10, so I gave it a 9, and then I based everything else off of that. So for the bottle, there's tons going on here. You have your balance, basically that's, you know, how easy or, you know, hard it is for it to tip over. The markings, obviously accuracy on the markings. Basically if you had 1,000 milliliters worth of markings, you got a 5, then there's a bit taken off for inaccuracy. There's not really a ton of high scores in there except for the Superints, which I think is the bar, and I did give it a 10. I don't think a bottle can get much better than that when it comes to markings. Visibility. Once again, the Superints here got a 10 because you can't get any clearer than a clear bottle. The neck, basically, if it's a narrow neck, you got a 5. If it's a wide neck like the MJJC and the Griots, it's a 9. An 8 for the other ones because I really don't like the huge necks. The thread pattern is just a little off. Capacity is a complete measurable. 1,000 milliliters, you get a 5. For every 100 milliliters it can hold over 1,000, it gets an extra point. For every 100 less, you get a point taken off. Shape, purely subjective, more like how I like the design of what it looks like. Is it functional for me to use on a shelf or something like that? Ergonomics the same way. It's based off how it feels in my hands, how easy it is for me to carry around in that hand. Function, a lot going on here as well. Cap is just cap. How well it's designed, how well it screws on, how well it threads. If it's dual thread, how well do the dual threads work? Kind of leans into the leak category. How well does it leak? It doesn't leak. Obviously, if it doesn't leak, you get a 10 because you can't go beyond doesn't get in a leak. Turn knob, that's based solely off the subjectiveness. The turn knobs, the PF 2.2, and the other ones have a really smooth knob on top. They get a higher score. So the nozzle is more or less based on how it feels in your hands, the tightness, how easily it turns, how easily it stays in place. Spray pattern is actually a measurable right now. If you get a 6, if you only have one type of spray pattern, you get an 8 if you have 2 spray patterns. So that's your vertical, horizontal, and your fan spread. Suction tube, based off of flexibility, materials used, whether it has a weighted ball. So for weight, purely measurable, what I basically took is a pound, it gives you an 8. A pound is really light for a foam cannon. That would make it the 3rd lightest on this list. So for every ounce that you are heavier than a pound, you get a half a point taken off. For every one that you are less than a pound, you get a half a point extra. That's why the Selkie here got a 9.5. It only weighs like 13 ounces. So for cost is measurable. And that's basically the price on Amazon or whatever website it comes from, whatever is the cheapest. Then the score is basically based off of if foam cannon costs $10, it's a 10 because you're not gonna find a reviewable foam cannon for less than $10. And so for basically every $5 that you spend over that $10, you get a half a point taken off. That's why you see way down here the ones that like $98, the PF 22.2 gets a score of 1.2. So next category is quality. So we have metals, plastics, plating, machining. So metals is basically your brass and your stainless steel and your aluminum. Basically those. Plastics is basically more about how the plastic feels, how hard the plastic it is, how brittle it is. Your plating, like I said before, it's electroplating, nickel plating, and machining. The process used to create it, whether it's casted, stamped, or machined out of a solid block. Now, my favorite part of a foam cannon actually is not foam. I love innovation. I love when people create new things. The cap, is it dual threaded? Is it wide neck? Are the threads good? I mean, all the different kinds of things. Is it leak proof? These are innovation. The nozzle, the design of the nozzle, whether it has 2 spray patterns or 1, how easy it is to take apart, how easy it is to maintain the filters on the inside. Manifold, ergonomics of the manifold that are improved over other ones. The Griots and the Brilliant Finish get higher scores because they have rifled barrels. And I really don't know where to put the barrel under nozzle or under manifold, so I put it under manifold. Now, quick disconnect, that's based off of the versatility of the quick disconnect, what it's made of. A lot of them there isn't a ton going on, but the MJJC score is really high due to the versatility of their M22 fitting. Suction tube. Now, obviously, innovation here, the weighted ball, going away from the really large diameter suction tubes down to the smaller diameter. The Griot's Boss scored highest here because of the auto mix feature. Having a clear bottle, markings, that kind of goes into other territories. The ergonomics of a bottle, the plastics that it's made out of. So there you go. Obviously, a ton of nerdy information, the kind of stuff that I like. We needed to be able to do this for the Keav score to work. We needed the barometer. We needed to take all the old ones, rate them out. What is my current favorite? And using all of that to kind of decipher the scoring system so we can rate the newer foam cannons. And like I said, leave expandability for even better things down the road. So you saw a sneak preview. We have more coming, investing even more and more into the channel. Thank you for the views. Thank you for using the Amazon links. Obviously they're below, using and helping my sponsors. All this kind of stuff is helping with this wash bay build, which is coming very soon. So some of you right now are hearing about this first. I've kind of mentioned it, but we are going to be waterproof paneling the walls. We are putting in a wall mounted pressure washer and filter system. We are going to make this a great space to film whenever I want. Rain, snow, cold, it doesn't matter. I'll be in this nice area right here and I won't be stressed out sweating myself off because I have AC in here. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. On Doug DeMuro and the Doug score. Back and forth between videos, and oh my gosh. So we'll go over, I'll go over each one here. So we'll go, all right, see out of the box, where I'm doing just as good as the PF 22.2, but not quite. What is he doing? Jumping up there? Siphon it closer to. There's just so many different kind of So for all of you that, the Brilliant Finish 74.8, and so on and so forth. And somebody just flushed the toilet. We have those weights. You have the so we have. I almost thought I wasn't recording all this. Oh man, I've been mad. Which is the measurable.
Sorry.
I'm trying to record, buddy.
Sorry. Where are the liquid molly bags?
All right.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Love you too. Gotta be a dad sometimes, you know. See, you can't even see the chaos going on right here. So the Keav score, the tow truck driving down my road just so happens to have parked right there. He's backing up somebody's driveway.